All right, Kyle, and all right, you listening right now, let's fall down the rabbit hole. It's our last episode before the NHL draft, and we got three levels of trades for you today. We got spicy, we got spicier, and we got spiciest. It's Locked On Canucks, baby.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Trevor Beggs, Canucks writer and credentialed media member for Daily Hive Vancouver. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. And before we dive into our final show before the 2023 NHL Draft, we want to thank you for listening to Locked On Canucks. It's your team every day. Make sure you subscribe or follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. On today's show, here's what I want to do, Kyle. I want to talk about some bold moves the Canucks could make before the draft tomorrow, before they inevitably let us down and do nothing. But really what I've done for this episode today is gone through three levels of spice, okay? So if you like spicy steaks, if you like spicy food, this is the place to be.
Who doesn't like spicy food? I don't trust people who don't like spicy food. Those people who do not like taking risks in their life. Like I'm talking... there are some of those people who like won't touch a like jalapeno and cheddar Dorito, you know, because that's too spicy for them. Those people are dangerous. Those people are probably serial killers, man.
You know honestly, what? My whole family grew up not liking spicy food, so my whole family might be serial killers. I broke the chain probably at like 16 years old. So yeah, that's what I took for that. You say my family's a bunch of serial killers, Kyle? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying those people are kind of interesting, you know, like no level of spice, you know, very bland, monotone. I don't know. It's interesting to me.
My wife doesn't really like spice either. She might also be a serial killer.
Oh man, who knows, right? Y'all watch a lot of Murderdogs too. I guarantee. You know, she's taking notes.
Exactly.
What not to do? Maybe she wants to get caught though, right? Oh man, who knows, man? Story for another day. Another podcast.
Yeah, spicy times are here talking serial killers and NHL trades, specifically trades the Vancouver Canucks could make. Of course, comment corner is at the end of the show. But Kyle, let's dive right into it. Okay, let's start with the least spicy. We'll call it spice level 1 in terms of potential trades the Canucks could make. So, you know, when Alvin did his press conference, he talked about trading up, not trading down in the draft. He actually spoke again this morning and basically said that there's not much movement in terms of trading up. But obviously we're not just going to talk about the Canucks doing nothing and picking 11th overall. That's not happening on today's episode of Locked On Canucks. But in this version of the least spicy take level 1, I have them trading down in the draft. So let me go through my trades for this least spicy take here. So Vancouver trades the 11th overall pick and a 4th round pick to the Nashville Predators to move down 4 spots to 15th overall. And they also pick up Dante Fabro in the deal as well. So again, the Canucks moving down 4 spots, also giving up a 4th round pick and picking up Dante Fabro. He's got 1 year left at $2.5 million. Lots of smoke that the Nashville Predators were trying to trade Dante Fabro around the trade deadline. They ended up re-signing him to kind of that 1 year show me deal. But again, the draft is in Nashville. The reports are that Nashville wants to make some noise. Okay. They're hosting the draft. They want to make some noise. So I could see Nashville, you know, they already have another 1st round pick from Edmonton in the Matthias Ekholm trade late in the 1st round. Maybe they see a guy at 11th overall. And maybe it's a defenseman because I have a feeling that, you know, the Willander, Simashev, and Reinbacher will kind of be gone in those first 12 picks. So we'll see. But I have Nashville moving up here to 11th overall. Then I have Vancouver trading down even further. Okay, this is where it starts to get spicy. So Vancouver takes that 15th overall pick from Nashville and trades down 4 more spots to 19th overall to the Chicago Blackhawks. But they do pick up a 2nd round pick, an early 2nd rounder at 35th overall, which, to be honest, Kyle, I think that's pretty valuable for the Canucks because, you know, at the end of the day, the Canucks, they have that right now they have a 1st round pick, 2/3, 3/4. You know, really, once you start getting to that 4th round, the chances of finding NHL guys is pretty slim. So I would like to see the Canucks try to find a way to get into the 2nd round because it's a deep draft. It's above average. And I think there's going to be some good talent that slips into round 2 there. So What do you think, Kyle? Are you okay with the
A
Canucks
lot,
trading down if
man.
it means picking up a second round pick?
Dude, what did you play? NHL 13 before you got on today's episode, man? Do you still have that video game? Is that the only hockey game you're still playing, man? You're on another run today.
Yeah,
I
I haven't even gotten started, man. Woo.
I can kind of make some of those connections. I kind of have a hard time believing that Chicago would trade one of their higher second round picks to move up only 4 spots from like 19 to 15. Just a personal thing, unless they really, really,
Mhm.
really, 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 really want a guy. But I like where you're going, stockpiling, making up ground. The Canucks, they trade an extra fourth to move down and get Dante and swap first round picks, but they pick up an extra pick when they trade Chicago with 19. I like it. I like it, man. And that's one of the things too. I feel as if a lot of Canucks fans would be content with some maneuvering when it comes to trading down because of our appetite for more draft picks. I think, again, it's intelligent fan base, West Coast to best coast. We know what we're talking about. Even though we haven't been to the promised land, we know what we're talking about. And the truth is that this team, one of the worst teams in the last decade, continues to not really prioritize having a surplus of draft picks. So, again, that appetite for them would be something. Let's touch on Dante Fabro some more. Do you think the Canucks are in that territory? Because I know we've heard a lot of, Noah Juleson, Christian Wolanin, that dude. We've been hearing those names, even Akito Hirose, all those guys, right? Do you think the Canucks, even though that's the case, and they continue to talk about those guys, do you think that the Canucks, if they pick up a guy like Dante Fabro via trade at the draft, are still going to be hungry during free agency for another defenseman?
I think if
Like,
they have the cap space to do it, they will be hungry to do so. I don't think this team is, going to have a few $1 million to spare when it comes to the cap next season. And again, they got to have Poolman and Pearson on the books before on opening day before putting them on LTIR. So I'd be pretty surprised if the Canucks have much cap room at the end of the day here. So, depending on what moves they make, I think they're going to have some room to spend in free agency, especially after the OEL buyout. Um, but maybe I'll answer some of your questions here just by finishing up my least spicy take, my
okay.
least spicy block of trades here. So again, the Canucks have acquired Dante Fabro by trading down with the Preds. They trade down with Chicago to pick up a second round pick along the way. And you're right, Cal. Maybe it's a bit lower in the second round, but a second round pick nonetheless. And I think, if they do pick 19th overall, they're going to have their choice of guys like maybe Matthew Wood, Samuel Honzek, Braden Yanger, Kobe Barlow, Gabe Pro, Daniel Boot. So I do think there's some serious talent there in the late teens of this draft. And again, they're going to take another swing in the second round as well. But to finish up here,
Exit,
and
man.
this is
Sorry, man. I have to cut you off there because
go
I
ahead.
just remembered, right? You just hit me with the 1-2, the 1-2. I just remembered that because you mentioned those names and you mentioned them being available at number 19. You said it again, deep draft. Everyone is saying this is one of those spectacular drafts, right? And they're the Canucks were with 2 picks possibly in the top 20, and then they traded one of them and a second round pick to get somebody with one arm. Never forget, man. Never forget. Continue, man. Just reminded me.
Oh, Philip Hronik and his one arm. Hopefully, he's got 2 arms going into next season. Hey, here's my cop out for all 3 spicy trade packages. I maybe I got a little lazy, but I just said Connor Garland to the New York Islanders for Jean-Gabriel Pageau. Again, I do think the Canucks got to trade a winger for a third line center in order to kind of reshuffle the deck a bit. So I've just gone with that template. So you can kind of think of trading a $5 million player like Garland, a $6 million player like Besser for a player of maybe near equal cap hit.
Yeah.
But I went with Garland for Pageau in all 3 examples here. But to finish off this least spicy block of trades, I have the Canucks trading up to get a late second round pick. They trade with the Seattle Kraken, who actually have 3 second round picks. So the Canucks acquire the 57th overall pick in exchange for picks 75 and 107. So in this example, the Canucks trade down from 11th to 19th, but they have 2 second rounders. And then again, after acquiring Fabro, resetting Höglander, trading Garland for Pageau, and trading away Anthony Beauvillier. Did I mention that?
When did that happen? Whoa,
That's
relax,
the
man.
next one. My bad.
Holy, this guy just comes with a haymaker, man. Come on, man. Dude, okay,
Woo.
are they
I
gonna
see.
trade Beauvillier? I feel like they just released that season ticket video, right? Like, next season starts now, the draft starts now, boom, bam, it's time to go. Patterson's telling the camera, yo, I'm back in Vancouver already. Quinn Hughes going through WhatsApp or iMessage, doing his thing, blah, blah, blah. And I feel as if Beauvillier, in that text chain / propaganda, see the commercial for yourself, okay? If you don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, Beauvillier, I feel as if was mentioned another 2 times.
Really,
Another
eh?
2 times. Like, his name was popping up in the conversation like he's one of the boys. Dude, I was surprised watching that commercial because I didn't see nothing from Luke Shen. That would have been funny, you know? Like a little phone call. Yeah, good
Oh,
work, though.
man.
Good work, man. Connect with the youth, have fun with it, and, yeah, they gotta sell tickets, man, for real. They gotta sell tickets, man. Ace,
Yeah.
for real,
Yeah, I
for
think
real.
the Canucks do love their Anthony Beauvillier, but
They
you
do.
know, the team needs changes, man. They can't just be content because they got Anthony Beauvillier on the team, you know. So maybe I'll talk about a Beauvillier trade later on, but let's get to
Okay.
my spiciest takes on the other side. But first, you know, I'm a big last minute deals guy, Kyle, and I found that the best place for killer deals at the last minute is Game Time. You know what, Kyle? If you want to use Game Time, you know, my birthday's coming up. If you want to give me some cheap tickets for colleges and events in my area, I'm down, man. Just use Game Time. You know, go talk to Nicole, okay? She's always teasing me with those weekly emails about flash deals on last minute tickets. And you know what? She's also telling me that, you know, Game Time has the lowest price guarantee along with event protection cancellation. It doesn't end there, Kyle. You know, I'm not a picky guy. If you want to give me tickets on a number of things, it's all good. Because on Game Time, they got exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Now I have no choice but to get off my rear end and go check out a show on a Friday night. So make sure you snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed.
Okay, we back. Locked On Canucks. Kyle, Bhawan, Trevor Beggs. The day before the draft. Okay, Trevor Beggs fired up, playing GM simulator mode, just having the time of his life. Not gonna lie to the people. Okay, some of the most fun times in my life were when I was that armchair GM at 15, 16, 17, 18, even 12, 13, 14, 15, even 10, 11, when I was super young, doing my thing on the video games and trying to win Stanley Cups. My favorite thing to do in the video game was to actually make trades and just simulate the games. Like, I wouldn't even play the games. That's how much of a
Oh,
hockey nut
100%,
I
man.
was. But I feel as if everyone did that. I feel as if everyone did that, and you're doing that right now, and it's, it's exciting, man. This
Yeah.
is the stuff that used to excite me in life, when woman didn't matter.
Ooh.
I didn't start having crushes on women until I was like 15 years old. Around that time in high school, 13, 14, 15, grade 8, grade 9, grade 10, everyone's going to parties, having a good time, theaters with girls, having crushes and stuff. And I'm just sitting there, only thinking about the Canucks and NHL '09. NHL, you know what I'm saying? Hockey, man. Hockey,
Oh,
man.
man. I used to love swinging those deals, but
Yeah.
hey, that's why I'm still swinging deals now as an almost 30-year-old man. You know, sometimes you don't grow up, and that's okay. That's the
That's
lesson on
okay.
today's show on Locked On Canucks. No matter if you're 18 or 81, make sure you don't grow up. Okay, keep that
Yeah.
inner child inside you, and
There
that's
you
why I'm
go.
playing GM mode here before the draft. And try to keep it realistic, but hey, hit me up in the comments. You know, I think trades always cause debate. I think if all of you agree with every single trade I'm suggesting here, that would be weird because again, they're called spicy for a reason. Okay. So let's get
Mhm.
to the second batch of trades. So the next two batches I have involve the Canucks trading up in the draft. Don't listen to what Alvin said today about there being not a lot of calls about the 11th overall and trading up. The Canucks are doing it in the next two examples. So in this example, my spicy level 2, Vancouver will trade their 11th overall pick and the 89th overall pick. So a first and a late third to the Washington Capitals for 8th overall, Anthony Mantha and Vincent Iorio. So Vincent Iorio, for people who don't know, right shot prospect defenseman drafted in the second round a couple of years back from Coquitlam, BC. Shout out Coquitlam, 6'4", 200 pounds, not a lot of offense, but kind of profiles as a potential kind of second, third pairing right shot defenseman. So again, that's the 11th and 89th overall picks from Vancouver to Washington for 8th overall. Anthony Mantha and his fat $5.7 million contract, and Vincent Iorio. So if the Canucks do this, I would think that Mitchkov's off the board because I get the feeling that Washington wants to add another star rush into the organization. So, if Michkov goes before 8th overall, I could see the Canucks trading up. And, maybe they have their eye on a guy like, Ryan Leonard, or maybe they have or David Reinbacher. Maybe it's Zach Benson, one of those guys. Dalibor Dvorsky could be another option as well in the top 10. Kyle, any chance? We talked about it a couple days ago. Every Dayers know, okay. Is there any chance that the Canucks could trade up here with the Washington Capitals? Do you see any scenario where that could happen?
Well, why would they want Mantha? Like, is it just like a cap dump?
It's a cap dump.
And
Mantha has 1 year left at $5.7 million.
And what
so it would be a cap dump.
It would be a cap dump, and then this move. If something like this happens, I'm talking a minute after, one of these wingers got to go. One of these wingers got to go for the Canucks,
and
right?
that's what I have in this batch. So this is where Anthony Beauvillier goes. So I basically have Anthony Beauvillier getting traded for a late 3rd round pick with the Seattle Kraken. So the Kraken have 3 second rounders and then 1 third. So I think they can afford to give up a late 3rd for a guy who could push for top 6 minutes with them. Again, the Canucks be trading with a division rival, but that's the move you got to make if you're going to trade up in the draft. Get a better prospect and then take on Mantha as a cap dump. Again, for this trade, I do like them picking up Vincent Iorio as well, kind of adding another, semi blue chip right shot prospect to the Canucks organization. And then I also have Vancouver trading Garland for Jean-Gabriel Pageau. So I think, do I have it for the YouTube viewers here? Let's check it out, Kyle. Let's check it out. Okay, so this is what the lines look like after all those moves. I kind of had the same free agent moves as well. Connor Clifton, Ian Cole rounding out the blue line. Kyle, I don't know. My first example was already out of the way, but what would you prefer? The Canucks, trading down for Fabro, trading down and getting some second round picks, or trading up, getting a better prospect, but arguably a worse team on paper?
Yeah, I would take the first one, making the Fabro trade, getting more second round picks. The Canucks, they've already been super aggressive year in, year out, and they've already made their aggressive move this year. I don't think a team like the Canucks. Come on, Hronek. That was aggressive. That was.
But then they bought out OEL.
That's a first and second round pick. You know what I'm saying? That's like a premium. That's a real premium. They've done it. I don't think the Canucks can, unless they really need the prospect, and this cupboard obviously really needs like top end prospects. Unless they actually believe that they have to go up 3 spots to fill that need, then okay. But I just don't. I don't know. I don't know, man. I think the Canucks, if they're gonna, they still got to shed cap. They still got to maneuver, and just taking on Mantha's contract and also taking on a contract. I know they still get rid of a couple, but taking on a contract at that position too, it's not appealing to me. The Dante Fabro thing, that thing's more appealing, not just because of his position, but he's making less money. And actually, it is because of his position, man. I just want to see the Canucks have a different decor. And, as much as I do appreciate the efforts of some of those guys from Abbotsford over the last couple of months of the season, since next season matters so much and they're so aggressively all in, I feel as if there needs to be some more NHL competition there before the rope is just given to guys like Juleson and whatnot. I know it's tough to do with this cap space, but that's just to me what would make this team more, not just appealing, but more structured. It starts from the back end, and this team has been so chaotic year in and year out. And that's just defense first. If we're making moves, it's for defense first from my end.
Yeah, and I think the Abbotsford guys, like, again, talking about Hirose, Juleson, Breezewall, Willett, and any of those guys making the team, it's all smoke. I mean, I can't see how this team is that much better if, those guys are, playing regular minutes in the NHL next season. But we'll see how it goes. Again, we're talking about fringe, bottom of the roster players. But my spiciest level of trades here, let's get to it, because this doesn't involve bottom of the roster players. So in the spiciest level of trades, you're going to like this one, Kyle. I got the Canucks trading JT Miller, Jet Wu, the 75th overall pick, and the 11th overall pick to the Columbus Blue Jackets for 3rd overall and Andrew Peeke. So again, JT Miller, Jet Wu, a 3rd rounder, and the 11th overall pick to move up 8 spots, and then also grab defenseman Andrew Peeke. And there you go. The Canucks draft Leo Carlsson, going for that 1-2 punch of Pettersson, Carlsson down the middle for years to come. And then with that, again, I have Garland, the Pageau trade, but the Canucks end up having around $12 million in cap space by trading JT Miller and his contract. So with that cap space here, what I've done is I have them signing Max Domi as a second line center.
Oh
Because if you have
man.
Pajot in the team, you kind of have that defensive center. Okay. You have Niels Amon, defensive center. Pedersen, he can play defense. I think you can afford to have a guy like Domi in that second line center role, at least as a stopgap for a couple of years until a guy like Leo Carlsson would be ready. And then last but not least, I have the Canucks signing Ryan Graves as well. Short-term deal, $6 million a season. But again, I think they're paying a bit of a premium for just getting him on a short-term deal. So this is my spiciest version of the Canucks making moves at the draft. And we'll see what happens. Hit us up in the comments. We got this episode's coming out at 4:20. We got 24 hours from the time this episode's released till the draft actually starts. Hit us up with your trade proposals. What do you think is going to happen? Don't say the Canucks are not going to do anything, because that's just no fun.
Wow, man. 3 levels of spiciness, man, coming from your mind. You're such a nerd, dude. What a hockey nerd, bro. This guy went 3 levels, 3 different tiers of scenarios that have a 1.7% chance of happening. You were having fun, man. And you're right, man. You got to keep that inner child alive. That inner child alive, having fun, keeping it grooving, keeping it moving. Again, that thing called your life. I did hear that Ryan Graves, though, doesn't want to come to Canada.
I
That's what
heard
I'm
that
hearing.
too. But
That's
I
what I'm
think if the
hearing.
Canucks offer him $6 million a season, maybe they can persuade him the other way. Canadian
Dude,
tax there.
Whatever. Y'all can stay in America. Right? America.
Ryan Graves is from Nova Scotia.
Oh.
So, I mean, it's not like a good old American boy who wants to stay in America. The guy's Canadian.
Well, okay,
so,
okay.
I mean...
Before we get to the third segment, Comment Corner, let's touch on it for a couple minutes, okay? Because we're seeing it with Calgary, we're seeing it with Winnipeg. Maybe they're outlier situations, especially with the scenario in Winnipeg, right? People are looking at that scenario and are like, "Oh, look at these guys, man! Look at these guys. These guys don't want to stay in Winnipeg. Shifley, Wheeler, Hallebuck, Dubois, bro. 3 of those guys I just mentioned, they've been there forever. They've been there forever. Change is inevitable sometimes, right? Maybe that doesn't have to do with the whole Canada thing. The Calgary thing, some of those players have been there for a little bit longer than others. And also Calgary, dude. Come on, man. We all been to Calgary, man. Come on, dude. If you're losing hockey games and it's not as optimistic as one may believe, aka, there's no Stanley Cup dreams and you're a hockey player, Calgary, yeah. Anyways, man, Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs. Man, look at us, man. We blessed on the West Coast, the best coast. Real talk, man. You over there at the South End. Fake Surrey. Y'all don't even like to rep Surrey. For real, I'm here in South Van. We're blessed, man. By the water, living life. And just being hockey nuts, okay? The draft is tomorrow on a scale of 1 to 11. How stoked are you?
I'm probably like a 9 stoked,
Nice.
I'd be more stoked if the Canucks, didn't win all those games at the end of the season. But, at the end of the day, I think it's a fascinating draft. It's a fascinating offseason for the Canucks because, whether we like it or not, they're not rebuilding. They're in win now mode. And I think they're going to make some moves that signify win now mode, whether that's at the draft or during free agency. So I think there's a 70% chance that we're back here on Saturday or we're back here on Monday and we're complaining about the crappy moves the Canucks have made, because that's just what happens here in Vancouver. But nonetheless, it's an exciting time of year. You love movement when you love the game. So let's go, baby. Locked On Canucks.
Locked On Canucks. Before we get to Comment Corner, let's let the people know that yesterday we dropped an episode, because we do that, right? Your team every day. And we talked about Connor Clifton. This is more appropriate, okay? I think this is the direction the Canucks are going to go, doing things like this. I've said it before. I don't feel as if the Canucks need to go to the auction anymore. They don't need to be super ultra aggressive, okay? How about have some trust in some low-budget moves, some value moves, and have those players exceed expectations? We need that here on the West Coast, the best coast. We actually dropped this episode yesterday, again, on Connor Clifton. The day before that, we did Pius Suter, or the Friday episode. So we covered the center positions and the defensive positions at deals that could be a bargain for your Vancouver Canucks. Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Let's get to Comment Corner. Beggsy, do we have a break here?
Nothing really for me. I just want to quickly pump out or talk about the Locked On NHL.
Oh, wow. What do you want to pump out? Relax,
hey, what can
man.
I say, man?
You don't got a shirt on tonight. Come on.
The sun is shining. Let's go.
You don't got a shirt on. You can't just be saying, I got to pump this out. You know what I'm saying? You can't
Oh
be pumping
man.
it out, bro. You gotta relax, man. You gotta
2023.
slow
I gotta watch my words. I gotta watch my words.
pump
But
it
regardless,
out,
once you're done
bro.
listening to me talk dirty, make sure you check out Locked On 2023 NHL Mock Draft Special, where you got Gil and Hattie. They're gonna break down every pick made by every NHL team. We picked David Reinbach to the Canucks at 11th overall. But you can find the episodes on Locked On NHL, wherever you stream podcasts, or on YouTube.
Okay, we back. We back. Here on Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Trevor Beggs without a shirt on. Family program, but it is, it is 2023, right? You just express yourself, right? Express yourself. Don't whip it out, but express yourself. It's all good, okay? Kyle Bhawan, Trevor Beggs
Don't pump
again.
it out.
Comment Corner, man. Comment Corner. Love the people. Love the new people joining us. But again, shout out to IQ. Shout out to Hayden Gluten. Shout out to Jay. I'll even say Jay's name. The OGs, I'm going to remember you guys forever. We're growing, and it's because of you. First comment goes to Matt. Okay, I respect Matt, okay, because he's been commenting a lot, and he's in it. I feel as if this is one of the guys. Oh, sorry. Got a phone call coming in. He seems like one of those guys who watches 40 Canucks podcasts a week. He's in it. I appreciate the effort, okay? So, Matt, one love to you. Let's actually give Matt a round of applause, okay? Because the people are doing everything for us hockey podcasters here on the West Coast, the best coast. Anyways, he says, for the love of God, don't sign Ian Cole. No explanation there. It could have to do with everything surrounding Ian Cole. Or, maybe it's, I don't even know if there's any truth to that statement. Like, is there anything surrounding this guy anymore? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Who knows? Or
Yeah.
it could be because of the age. It could be because of the age as well.
It could be. It could be a number of things. I
Yeah.
will say, though, quickly, whether you like Ian Cole or not, Rick Dollywall reported yesterday that the Canucks are likely to show interest in Ian Cole if he hits the open market. Again, he's got ties to the Rutherford organization. He won 2 Stanley Cups in Pittsburgh when they were in charge. So don't be surprised if the Canucks go chase Ian Cole on July 1st.
I've seen 7 different people on this side of the world talk about how that connection could be happening very, very soon. Yo, Rutherford and LV, man, former Pittsburgh Penguins. Don't be surprised. Okay, look at this scenario. Okay, look at what I thought of right here. Okay, because there's a chance of this. Anything is possible in this thing called life, right? The Pittsburgh Penguins are out of it come March, and the Canucks are booming. The Canucks are booming, right? They're surprising everyone. The cream of the crop. Anything can happen, right? Florida made it to the Stanley Cup final. Anything can happen, and out of nowhere, Alvin brings Crosby to Vancouver. Okay, just anything's possible, man. Anything's possible, man.
That's the new third line center, eh? Sidney Crosby. Yeah, no big deal.
Oh man. Okay. This comes from our next comment comes from Unplugged 123. Enough with the former Boston Bruins on the Canucks. I think we talked about Connor Clifton. Yes, we did yesterday. A maybe former Boston Bruin, right? It could happen. Maybe they'll sign him. Maybe they won't. Yeah, I feel as if whatever we're doing right now, when we've been talking about a couple Bruins with the Canucks, I feel as if it's an indication that time has passed. Time has completely passed. I feel like I'm getting over it. You know it, man. I signed up to do this, and I've been here ever since March. I haven't taken any emotional leave because this is an emotional franchise for me. So I think I can say I've gotten past the 2011. Trevor Beggs, you should be proud of me because you know how hard this has been for me to deal with since 2011. But yeah, I think Unplugged, you just got to get over it, man. You just got to get over it.
Yeah, and he makes a good point with there. We actually have brought quite a few players to this organization from Boston who have sucked.
Yeah.
I don't feel like Connor Clifton's that player. So at the end of the day, I don't care if they're from Boston. I don't care if they're Canadian or not. I know we touched on that in Comment Corner a couple of shows ago. I just want good players in my hockey team at good value. And Connor Clifton, I think, signifies that.
Wow. There you go. Trevor Beggs just slapped Unplugged right in the face with his comment. It happens sometimes here on Comment Corner. Leave comments whenever you watch the show. Subscribe, hit the like button. Leave us a review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And spread love, not just to us, but to the world. Make every day count, breathe, any other cliches I got here, and recycle. And don't litter, man, for real. There you go. That's all I got to say.
There you go. And again, make sure you leave some comments based on all my trade scenarios and my crazy trade scenarios. I think it's gonna be pretty funny tomorrow, Kyle, to do comment corner after round 1 of the draft, and absolutely none of them have happened.
Yeah.
So again, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. Leave your trade proposals there. But for now, I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bhawan. You've been listening to another episode of Locked On Canucks. Again, Kyle and I will record after the first round of the draft tomorrow. So look for that episode, Wednesday night, or, if you get to bed early, Thursday morning. What a better way to wake up than with Kyle and I whispered in your ear. Hello.
Yeah, perfect. I'm down to whisper into people's ears, and I've actually never done that romantically. That's actually a lie. That's a lie. I've definitely gotten in the ear, okay? When things are getting down, What's up, baby? You liking what you're feeling? You drop one of those, right? Okay. Oh, man. Did you sign out already or what, man? You got to say anything else?
That's about it. No.
Oh, that's about
it? I think that probably works. The way you ended
Okay,
it.
man. Locked On Canucks, your team every day. Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bhawan. Enjoy life. Peace.